For me to get her headspace and her mindset right was harder than getting my reactions or my actions right. That'll be a trait of a very bad actor and a very bad team player, and I don't think that's in me to ever think like that. Befikre for me was also very entertaining and a very cool film, and I'm very proud to be associated with it. I think they had empowered me enough to not take bullshit from anybody, no matter who it is.
Hello everyone, my name is Aina Mehta and today I have the gorgeous Vaani Kapoor with me, and we're here to talk about her brilliant performance that she gave in Chandigarh Kare Aashiqui. So Vaani, welcome to Pinkvilla.
Thank you.
How are you? How's it been? How are these few days been? What are you feeling?
It's been great. Apart from the fact that we're all still in the midst of pandemic, but everything's feeling good, and I think the film has gotten a lot of love and great response from everybody. So it's all good.
So I want to ask you that, when Gattu Kapoor came to you with the narration, the role Manvi requires a lot of responsibility because you're playing this character, and at the same time, it's a little risky as well. So what were the apprehensions and what were your thoughts like when you heard the narration for the very first time?
I got a call from him and he was very sweet, and he said that, listen, I have a film and I'm just going to mail you and you go through it, and if you happen to connect or something, we can connect later after you give it a read. And I read it, and I think I was absolutely mind blown. It just was so beautifully written and very nicely addressed the whole thing, the whole film and my character in the movie. So I think it just felt instinctively right, and I made a call to him. We had a bit of a discussion and got to understand his understanding of Manvi and his treatment of Manvi, and everything felt like we're all on the same page, and it just felt very right. Yeah.
It was not like, I'm not really sure ye role karna chahiye, should I take this responsibility on me? Did you ever feel that at one point?
No, I didn't. I think I wouldn't have been in this movie, and I don't think I would have been suitable for it if I didn't have 100% conviction to play this part.
There's a scene in the film, Vaani, where you're talking to your friend and you're at the mall and you're actually telling her about your vulnerabilities, and then Manu comes in and he says some really mean things, and you switch and you become the strong person. So you're vulnerable, at the same time you're very courageous, and these two major emotions, you mixed it and put it out really well. How did you get the tone of the character so correct and so right and get into the skin of it? What were your preps like? How did you go about it?
So we also had the casting director of the film, Mukesh Chhabra. He had also flown down to Chandigarh, to help me set the tone of the character along with Gattu. And we did have a lot of readings before we, spoke a lot about how she's going to conduct herself in every given scenario and situation in her life. And I think it was more important for one to understand her headspace than only emphasize on the dialogues. So I think once you get the headspace right, everything then tends to make sense and flow. It has a different flow to it. For me to get her headspace and her mindset right was harder than getting my reactions or my actions right. So I think it's just there's a lot of back work that you do. You prepare a lot before you come on set, so that amount of preparation was at length done quite rigorously.
And what about the community? How have they responded to you? Has someone from that community reached out to you after the film?
They did, and I'm so happy that they have loved Manvi and they've given so much love to her and accepted her. And I think for me, that's the biggest achievement I could have had from this movie, their acceptance and their love, and their I think the fact that their validation meant everything to me. And I think that was some self-inflicted pressure that I also took personally, and the kind of responsibility it comes with. You're representing a very different community, and forget as an actor, you don't want to fail as by misrepresentation of somebody who've gone through so much. They have their own various battles that they fought in their lives that somehow I think we happen to not even have a dialogue about in our daily lives, and we don't happen to discuss them. And so yeah, I think getting it right was all the more important for me because of them.
And at any point did you feel like, when you got to know that Ayushmann is on board as well, and Ayushmann is known for doing such progressive films, for picking up such topics, at any point was there a doubt that what if this fact outshines my character and what I'm playing, because I'm the one who's actually doing the unconventional role?
That'll be a trait of a very bad actor and a very bad team player, and I don't think that's in me to ever think like that. It's film is the most important thing firstly, and I mean, I have done parts which are way smaller to a male leading part in my previous films. So this is a way much better fleshed out opportunity for me to play a part like this. The fact that somebody else gets to have a better part than me, or I have the better part. I take no such arrogance, and I would not also leave room for any insecurity like that.
That's great. And you have been vocal about how secure you are as an actor. There was a lot of buzz around basically, but it didn't work that well. What I want to know is, at that point in your life, did you ever lose hope or feel very low? And how did you pick yourself up? And do you think that now is the turning point of your career?
I was left a bit disheartened. I think we all were. But yeah, that's just something, you live with. Every actor goes through their highs and lows, and irrespective of whatever the fate of that movie was, it was very special to me, and I truly did enjoy my film. Basically for me was also very entertaining and a very cool film, and I'm very proud to be associated with it. In fact, there are a lot of journalists and interviewers and people who I talk to, or just on social media also, there are a lot of people who have liked
I like that
film.
I don't know. I know people who like that film, so I'm not understanding when people say it didn't work. I'm like, really? Because I know people who liked the film, and like now.
And I'm so happy you liked the film, because I honestly also like my movie, and not because I have enacted in it, but generally I thought it was a fun film. It was a cool film, and it was very progressive and ahead of its time, I guess. But yeah, I think it left me disheartened. But then you pick yourself up and you brush off your whatever that it is, and you move on, and you focus on what's next and give it your all over again.
And this is your turning point. Do you see a change around people towards you? Is there a slight difference in how they're talking to you, how they behave, or something like that? A change that you've evidently seen?
I have never put in a lot of energy into scrutinizing how people are around, like in the industry, before and after. Of course, there are a lot of people who had put their faith in me from the beginning, and people who've given me opportunities in the past, irrespective of what the fate of any of my previous films have been. Like, be it a film like War, which was so magnum opus, and you had a director like Siddharth Anand, who could have practically gotten any big star to play a lead opposite Hrithik, and he put his faith in me. I have a Karan Malhotra from Shamshera who put his faith in me, who loved me from my first film. I got a gut too, for Chandigarh Kare Aashiqui. So there are a lot of people who've also been there for me, and have kind of, I do feel the love a lot more now. I do feel that there's a respect, a certain amount of respect that one that I've garnered maybe after this film.
Have you ever faced toxic masculinity in your personal life? Probably seen a friend's boyfriend, or probably something that you've seen around you, and like, what was it? How did you, deal with that toxicness?
So fortunately, like the kind of family that I have been brought up in, and the kind of environment I've been brought up in, they're raised by feminists, both my father and my mother. And there's a lot of true sense of empowerment that one, gathers from while growing up, in your initial very nascent stage of your life. And I think they had empowered me enough to not take bullshit from anybody, no matter who it is. If you're right, you're right, and you stand by, what feels right to you. And in this industry, I have not worked with or been associated or closely, have had any kind of a friendship with who I felt like was not correct by their behavior. Chandigarh Kare Aashiqui kind of do through the medium of cinema. I think it does speak about it, how one needs to evolve and be more progressive and have the correct mindset. So I think as artists, we can do that from our films, and we can promote it and support it.
Awesome. And you have your next big release, Shamshera, coming up next year. You guys are done filming. Hopefully, if COVID doesn't prevail, we'll see it in the theaters in March. That's a hope. I want to know how was it working with Ranbir Kapoor, such a great actor, and what was the experience like? We know he's humble, but like, what is that one thing you took away from him as an actor?
I'm sure he works very, very hard before he comes on set, but when he's enacting a scene, you just feel like he's so effortless. It doesn't feel like, someone like him would. He just seems very naturally gifted. He's a truly gifted actor, and I think there's a lot of screen presence and a persona that he has, which something I don't know if you can develop over a period of time or not, but it just seems very authentic and organic with him. And I think, which is why who he is, I love him as an audience as well. I love watching his films, and I do connect to his characters on a very deeper level, because I genuinely feel like everything feels authentic with him. And he's a fun guy. He's fun and he's chill, and he's, like you said, humble, which by now I think everybody knows. And he also likes to... we used to play these games on set. What is it called now? I've forgotten thing. Those wordscapes games and all.
Scrabble.
No, it's something like Scrabble, but it's not Scrabble. Like, how you make the jumble up alphabets and you make games and make words out of those. He's a fun, easy person to work with, and he can be goofy, and he can also be very goofy.
So thank you so much, and we hope
you
meet in person and not e-mail the next time.
Thank you so much. Bye.